We started out life as you say, as ABIN, which was an intelligence base for the biosecurity industry, and it came out of a review by the Australian government on our preparedness to act in the event that there was some biosecurity emergency in Australia. And that inquiry found that there was a fair bit of space for improvement, and so the Australian government funded this project to improve our capacity in such an event to communicate right across the whole stakeholder stream of people who would be involved in a disease incursion or a plant or pest coming into Australia that needed to be acted upon.
So notionally then, if there's an outbreak of foot and mouth disease in the Northern Territory, can you give us a brief description of the role that Connecting Spaces might play in addressing the challenges caused by that biosecurity outbreak?
Yeah, look, what Connecting Spaces is a means of communication, and we've got dedicated space on our system for a biosecurity emergency, such that it would within hours we can have every party who would be involved in such a disease outbreak. In your example of foot and mouth disease, we could have every party connected up onto the Connecting Spaces facility so that they can communicate in a secure, protected environment and discuss the issues and plan the incursion and the response to that incursion in that sort of environment. So it uses visual as well as audio voice connection, so that people, as best as we can do, are communicating like we are now across the table, but you're doing it electronically.
Very good. So this project began about 4 years ago. Can you tell us, it must be at some sort of critical junction that you're rebranding and you're going forward. Can you tell us where you want to be in terms of its commercial realities, say in 4 or 5 years' time?
Okay, and you're right. We started life as a funded project from the Australian government 4 years or so. In that space up till now, we've been developing our technology, developing the capability and the infrastructure. Just recently as June this year, we've sort of gone out and said this is where we're up to. We've developed as much as we possibly can, at least in the immediate period. We've now got a very functional, very secure, very reliable infrastructure, and so we're now moving into a service delivery phase. And so as a result of that, we're changing our name and our branding so that we're becoming Connecting Spaces to appeal to a wider, not just only the biosecurity community, but the community right across the Safeguarding Australia community.
So I'm curious as to your role in developing the business. What sort of organisations will you personally be targeting as part of your business development plan in the coming 12 months? Okay,
we've concentrated at least in the primary industry field, and we've got quite a number of organisations in that field, and that varies from National Farmers Federation to Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry, those sorts of organisations. We've got state government departments in DPIs and Food and Forestry. Western Australia and Victoria particularly are using the system. Now we're looking at expanding into a wider range, so things like customs, organisations like emergency management, Australian Crime Commission. We've got a role in a wider sphere of anybody or any stakeholder that's involved in that Safeguarding Australia sort of scenario.
So I imagine if there's this summer a major bushfire emergency across state borders, something like Connecting Spaces could play a role in bringing those various parties together.
It has the capability of doing all of that.
Police, emergency services, rural fire brigades.
Exactly.
Very good. So is this a world first project? Have you copied overseas models?
This is a first. Our understanding is that there's no system like this in the world. We have some unique qualities about us. There are certainly some other commercial like organisations or facilities. But our big point of differentiation is that we have a secure system, and that's based on it's based on the Australian government recommendation and systems that enable us to provide a protected level of security. And by the end of this year, we'll be fully operational under that protected level. So it means that organisations can discuss highly confidential matters in a secure environment, and when they're ready to put that out into the wider world, they can release it. But in the meantime, it's discussed in a secure environment.
Business development matters domestically. What about export potential for the?
Look, ultimately down the track, I think there is potential for that, and we are setting up a system of platform management that will enable a whole range of participants, stakeholders, communities to come on board and buy into that capability. At this stage, we've got our work cut out for us just developing the system within Australia, and it's not only in that biosecurity or emergency type response. What we're finding is that the system and the capability of it is limited by our own imagination, and we're finding that organisations which are small industry organisations with limited funds can buy into this subscription. They can run their board meetings or their council meetings in a secure environment, and particularly in today's economic environment where travel budgets are being slashed, not only in government departments but capability within small organisations is limited. This means that you can conduct your meetings on a regular basis. You can still discuss the issues. You're doing it on a system which provides that security.